right, so I wanted to take some time to continue looking at the pagan prophet and diviner Balaam. So on yesterday's episode, we investigated the meaning of his story as recorded in Numbers 22 to 24 and Numbers 31. How it seems as though God was giving Balaam a chance to change, a chance not to curse himself by cursing Israel. God created a scenario that would have spoken directly to Balaam's way of life, giving him a real opportunity to hear and change. Ultimately, though, Balaam refuses to change, and he later dies in a time of war by an Israelite sword. His story in the Bible carries powerful themes of God's mercy toward mankind outside of Israel, his provision of opportunities to change, God's communicative power, his desire and will to communicate to mankind, and how God fulfills his promises. In this case, his blessing of people who bless Israel and his cursing of those who curse them. Balaam's name pops up throughout the Bible as a cautionary tale, as an example of someone who loved profit, who loved their way of life more than they loved God. Beyond being famous in the Bible and among students of the Bible, archaeological work has also revealed that Balaam was famous outside of Israel. This makes sense if he was a real person, because the Bible introduces him as someone who must have been a famously successful diviner and prophet, as Balak, the king of Moab, sends for Balaam, who was not a Moabite at all. Remember that this may have been because Balak wasn't thrilled with the results of his own diviners as they tried to find out what could be done about Israel, so he wanted some outside help. Now, back to the archaeological discovery. In 1967, at the site of Deir Allah, which I'm probably not pronouncing right, many plaster fragments with red and black ink writing on them were discovered. Now, when they were put back together, translated, and published, which took a decade, by the way, some pretty amazing things came to light. The words were recording prophecies and stories of Balaam, the son of Beor, who seems to be the same man mentioned in Numbers 22 to 24. So the inscriptions call him a seer of the gods, and he's recorded receiving dreams or divine messages at night, which is also a feature of Balaam in the biblical narrative. Now, the Deir Allah inscriptions also associate Balaam with two specific pagan gods. These fragments do not date to the time of Moses and Israel in the wilderness. They date to much later, about 840 to 760 BC, which would be during the time period of the kings of Israel, so much after Moses. The inscriptions are not Israelite, though, and perhaps they were originally inside a temple to those gods whom Balaam is presented as loyal to. Researchers are confident that the inscriptions were originally attached to a standing stone or to the inside walls of a building because they were discovered in the remains of a destroyed building. And due to their religious nature, a temple would be a nice fit. Deir Allah itself is believed by some to be biblical Succoth or biblical Peniel, where Jacob wrestled with God. Now, what the existence of these inscriptions tell us is that outside of the Bible, there was a long-standing tradition of a diviner named Balaam, son of Beor. That stories of him, likely oral traditions, were very well known and then later were preserved in writing. Maybe they were used to teach new generations of pagan seers, or maybe they were used to encourage others in their loyalty towards Balaam's patron gods. Whatever the original reason for the existence, these inscriptions not only provide extra biblical evidence for the existence of Balaam, they give us a glimpse into how others thought about his work and world.
That's really interesting. And as we think this through, it gives us something to consider when we read through this. And even though Balaam's just 3 chapters here, and it's mentioned later when he was killed, this is absolutely amazing. Thank you, Corie.
Yeah, no problem.
Very good.
Thank you so much for watching. We want to keep producing high-quality biblical content, but we can't do it without your support. If you feel called to support us, please click the link in the description under Donate. Your support really means a lot to us.